Music and Booze with Mo is produced and distributed by EatsDrinksTV, a service of the Center for Culinary Culture, home of the Cocktail Collection, and First Reel Entertainment, and is available wherever fine podcasts can be heard. The Center for Culinary Culture, telling the story of food and drink, one taste at a time. Welcome to Music and Booze with Mo. I'm Mo Herms, and I've worked in the music industry most of my life, so have met some pretty amazing musicians over the years. I also love a good cocktail, and I've encountered some really interesting bartenders as well. It seems that there's a lot of crossover, so when I can, I like to talk to musicians and bartenders about music and booze. Join us at the bar, won't you? Music and Booze with Mo is brought to you by The Mermaid, a cozy neighborhood bar with an aquatic flair in the Little Tokyo area of downtown LA. Open 7 days a week, featuring tropical cocktails and snacks, The Mermaid also has a daily happy hour from 5 to 8 p.m. Follow The Mermaid on Instagram at TheMermaidLA to hear about upcoming events and check them out at themermaidla.com. Head to 428 East 2nd Street, Los Angeles, for a drink. On this episode, we are headed to a city I used to visit a bunch but haven't been to for a while, Denver, Colorado. Actually, Littleton, Colorado, to be more specific, which is kind of part of that area. We're going to Palenque, Cocina y Agaveria. I had to practice saying that a lot. To visit with Todd Daigle. Todd Daigle is a bass player, and he's stepping out in front of the mic to talk with us about his time with Palenque and just in the bar world in general. He's the bar manager over at Palenque, so he knows his mezcals because it's Agaveria. I think I said it right. And we'll go into the music that he's been playing on the bass for a very, very long time. And tell everybody where you work, because you will pronounce it correctly, and I should pronounce it correctly, but I can't.
I should too. I'll do my best. Okay. So I'm Todd Daigle. I am a manager at Palenque here in Denver. Mm-hmm. Great Mexican restaurant, some of the best agave spirits around in Colorado.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of brands itself as and I just tried to say it, agavelera. No.
Agaveria, yeah.
Agaveria, which was not a term I'd ever heard before. And do you know if that's a real term, or did the owners?
Yeah, it's basically just like because in the name it's cocina as well. So it's like kitchen and agave spirits, essentially. Palenque.
And so are you Denver or just outside of Denver? It is Denver.
Well, technically we're in Littleton.
Okay. And I was wondering if Littleton was like a suburb of Denver or not, because I've been to Denver several times, but I didn't want to discredit your town if it's its own town.
No, I like Littleton though. Littleton is pretty nice. It's own little bubble. It's kind of pretty chill. So
before you got involved with Palenque, were you an agave person already?
So I've known Brian Rossi, the owner, we were oldest friends moving to Colorado. We kind of just met each other as soon as we moved to Colorado. Mm-hmm. And so probably a decade ago, I'd say, roughly, he kind of got me into good tequila when I realized what tequila actually was. So that's kind of where my love, started with agave spirits, tequila, and then branching into mezcal more now.
What's been tell me an early tequila story. Did you get scared away from tequila and had to come back? Most people, tequila is the one that gets them, and they're just like, I can't do it,
Yeah. We played a show and someone bought me back-to-back shots of, it's not even tequila, but you guys know what it's called, Cuervo.
Yeah.
And I'm not one to
burn
lose my lunch, but I did twice in a row. And so after that, I was kind of like, no, until later on when I discovered what it's supposed to taste like.
Yeah, somehow I made it through that period and never quite gave up. But I remember I was drinking Cuervo like in high school and just like, and it was always fine. And I'm trying to think if I ever got sick from it, but somehow powered through the Cuervo and learned about the real stuff as
Well,
well.
that's good that you stuck with it. Yeah.
Somehow I was able to get past that and be like, oh, if you pay more, does it taste better? You know, and just start learning about the expressions and everything. So you're the bar manager there, which means you kind of,
Yeah, I'm a manager there. Yeah, we all wear a lot of hats there,
yeah,
basically.
well, it's kind
I
of
do
like
all
that.
yeah, I do all the ordering, inventory, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so that means you've basically become a pro.
I'm working on it.
Well, there's a lot in the agave world. I kind of, well, so many spirits have so many different things going on within them. And I think within the agave world, because of the inherent potential lack of sustainability, you know, it seems to be more of a finite resource than some of the other spirits out there. So I would think that would make you learn more about who's producing it and what's available.
Absolutely. And we're all about, making sure that all the processes are done right. We don't carry brands that use diffusers or additives or anything like that. And we have good relationships with like a lot of small producers in Mexico. So we can stand behind pretty much not pretty much everything that we have on the shelf.
Have. Yeah, totally. Have you been able to do the pilgrimage down to Oaxaca?
So
trips?
Not yet. I've been to Mexico once, but I'm still waiting on that one. COVID kind of shut that down for a while, but it should be soon.
Yeah, hopefully so. When did you start bartending? When did you get into that world?
Oh God. Probably 15 years ago, I'd say.
Yeah. And like why?
That. So it all started in restaurants, just like anyone, I guess, started delivering pizzas and realizing that you could have free food essentially, or cheap food.
No.
You know what I mean? And then stayed with it for quite a while. Get into serving, bartending. I've done pretty much everything. Cooked. I've done everything in restaurants. And then got away from it for a while. I've always played music and traveled as much as I can as well. And then just a few years ago, really kind of circled back and just got really passionate about agave spirits. And it kind of all worked out to end up where I am now.
Well, I would figure it would be kind of a handy gig to have as a musician, especially if you were ever going on tour or anything, because then you could it could supplement your musical addiction.
Yeah, I think that was always the key, especially in the younger days, was just like, how do you have to have a job when you get back.
Yeah, right.
Leave, obviously I'm a little more settled down now, but yeah, so bartending definitely was always part of that, get back, get caught up.
Yeah. Well, how old were you when you started playing music?
15.
Were you? Yeah, it's always like around that time. And what made you start playing?
I don't know. I just always loved music. My mom had an acoustic guitar and she played like Neil Young and Rolling Stone songs. So I kind of always grew up with a record player and with my mom playing. And so, just got into like Metallica when I was a young kid and started playing guitar for a little while. And I heard like.
Were you trying to play Metallica on her acoustic guitar?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, what song were you trying to play? Because I'm trying to imagine that.
Oh,
like how you can rock hard on acoustic. I mean, it's possible, I suppose, but not in the same way. Right. But there had to be some song you were trying to plunk out on her guitar.
There's lots, but I had a good friend and he was a much better guitar player than I was. And we had a drummer, I have a twin brother, he played drums, and we realized we needed a bass player. And I heard Cliff Burton from Metallica. And I was like, if you can do that on bass, I'd like to try it. Pretty much never gone back.
So bass is your only instrument. That's the one.
Yeah, I mean, I love guitar too, but bass is what I do. For sure.
I think it's really interesting that you and your twin were playing together, and essentially you guys were the rhythm section. Absolutely. You like formed that. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, we would do fills together and not even realize it. Just. What was that? I don't know. Just had that connection. So
have you heard the term blood harmony before? It applies to siblings singing together. So it would be like the Everly Brothers, or I'm only thinking of like country singers right now, but there's even the Beach Boys had moments of it here and there. But when brothers sing harmonies together, that there's like kind of this synchronicity that just can't be achieved really by non-related people.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and so it's kind of neat. You guys, it sounds like you guys were doing something similar,
Yep.
with your rhythm section. Well, was that your first band then? The one with your brother?
Absolutely.
Do you remember what was it called?
The first one was called Idlehead.
Idlehead. Were you guys a metal band?
No, okay, so that was like really early on, and I discovered punk rock through metal because that's kind of where a lot of rock came from. All those bands were listening to the Misfits.
Well, Metallica, I was gonna say Metallica has that garage, EP that's got Misfits on it, and all that good stuff. Yeah.
So that's kind of how I found my way into punk rock, and I just, between that and like old skate videos and snowboard videos, kind of became our lifestyle, really.
Mm-hmm. Did you grow up in Colorado?
So I grew up in Maine, actually.
Oh, because you were saying skate and snow. And I was just like, well, I think you can do both those things in Colorado, but I wouldn't think of that as being Maine. Maine to me strikes me as being a pretty low key state.
It is. There's good snowboarding. It's just they don't get the snow like we do in Colorado. It's like in lower elevation. So that's why we moved to Colorado.
Well, what's the music scene like in Maine though?
It's getting better, but I mean, Portland's pretty good.
Well, Portland's kind of like the hipster town, right? I mean, that's pretty much where you find the good restaurants and they've got the reputation.
Yep. Tons of little microbrews and it's cobblestone streets and it's gorgeous. But growing up, it wasn't as active as it is now, but we go to Boston. I grew up 3 hours from Boston. So
is it only 3 hours away?
Yeah, it's only an hour and a half, 2 hours from Portland.
See, this is me living in California where you go, I'm in Los Angeles, you go 3 hours and you're just getting to San Diego, which is like the next big city.
Not to jump around, but I lived in San Diego for 5 years as well.
Oh, we'll have to talk about that later because that's where I'm from. So the whole Mexico thing, which is where I started drinking tequila in Tijuana, having adventures. So you didn't really get to play. I mean, what was it like being in a band in a small town in Maine? I mean,
it was amazing because there wasn't a scene until we created it.
Ooh.
So we would basically just go to the church or a VFW hall and we would talk them into renting it out. And they would, I don't know why, would be like, it's for charity. And we would give it to charity. We didn't care.
And you'd be playing punk rock, right?
Yeah. We just throw our own shows and then we would branch off to other towns that didn't have shows and we'd throw shows for them. And so it was it's a good way about it to see just, to create your own music. Really.
So when did you, it sounds like you tried to make this, I hate saying tried to because music never leaves, but it seemed like there was a point in your life where you made it sort of full time.
Yeah. So basically I moved to Colorado and got a pretty good band out here and we toured quite a bit and played quite a bit. And then once I turned about 27, I said, it's time to go to California and see what I can do. And that's when I went to San Diego and got in a good punk rock band there and toured a lot, traveled a lot. So that was kind of,
what band was that one? Just in case I heard it. If you want to talk about it.
No, it's fine, but it's a long story. It's called Pride Bowl, like PRIDEBOWL.
Okay.
And the band started in Sweden.
Oh, wow.
Our singer's from San Diego. So we reformed the band in San Diego. And then, but what was cool is that we get to play in Sweden, in London.
That's very cool.
So it's funny because we could draw like all over the world, and then in the US, not that many people.
Nobody.
You know what I mean? But so that's one of the biggest bands, I'd say.
That's kind of amazing. I mean, what was the European tour like?
Oh, just amazing.
What kind of, were you playing like festivals and things?
Yeah, so we played a festival in Sweden, so we got flown out for that one just for one show. So we went down to this. It's called the Augusti Bueller Festival in August. There's just this small village that it just takes over the whole village, and everyone camps out on one side of a river, and then the festival's on the other side. And
wow,
we just walked around and made flyers what time we were playing, and just gave them to all the
Passed
kids.
them out.
And so when we played, we had like the most people out of anyone.
Oh, that's awesome!
Super fun. And then the rest of the time, I have friends in Sweden, so we went to Stockholm, and they showed us around.
Tired of the saving countries, ungrateful people talking shit. Tired of us working hard, I'm underpaid, in fact we all are. Tired of all those on top, have never even pushed them off. So damn tired of this place, ashamed, embarrassed and disgraced. I'm tired of those who claim to be our saving grace.
craziness.
Yeah.
But yeah, what I love about Denver is people are just super supportive. They come out and support local bands, big bands, any size. And there's places to play for every size band. A lot of places I've been, they have like the big venues and then like a bar that has,
a tiny stage and like
every once in a while or whatever.
Yeah. Like 13 people can stand in front.
I feel like it's very supportive here,
Well, tell me about the band you're in now.
Okay, so this band's called Egoista. Our singer's from Venezuela, so that's where.
I was wondering because I went to listen to it, and I'm like, oh, they're singing in English because that part of me expected it to be singing in Spanish. And I was listening, and I'm like, okay, I know that this happens all over the world, but I was so expecting it to have a Spanish flair or something. Just
no, he has a slight accent. That's about it.
That's it.
Yeah, it basically means selfish, I guess, in Spanish, which I don't really know where he came up with that one, but just super fun. I joined, it's been a couple months now, I guess, and everything's just happened really fast. We have a lot of melodic, fast, short songs, so I've learned like 20 songs already. Kind of like a lot, but not really at the same time.
Yeah, but they're 20 songs, and your whole set's over in 40 minutes. So
and that's what I love. It's just like if you can't say it in that amount of time, then if you do the same song for 4 minutes and it's just repeating, then what's the point? So it's just super fun. Just what I know how to do. We all click really well. So I really enjoy that.
What's your favorite kind of music to play? Is this your favorite? I mean, because it's loud, fast, out of control, so to speak.
I mean, I always have to have a good melody, as well. So good harmonies and it's fun to play. But pretty much I like so much music, but this has just always been my release and what I know how to do and what I enjoy doing. So pretty much punk rock, but I listen to everything from, hardcore to reggae to you name it.
But you have to, as a bass player, you have to have a couple favorite songs that you love to play. If you were given the option to play any song you wanted, what are like a couple, like just have amazing bass lines in them that you're all I can do this. Like, I know you said before we got on, you're like, I'm the bass player. I'm usually in the background. So it's like, but here you could be in the foreground for just a moment. People could be like, that's a sick bass line.
I mean, there's so many, but Rancid is a huge influence because Matt Freeman's bass lines are just... I
lived in the Bay Area for 18 years and I worked in radio in the 90s in Berkeley.
Oh, love it.
So that means that Lint was always there. And it's like, we call him Lint, but he's Tim, and
and
it was so, the Op Ivy days and all that. So anytime someone mentions Rancid, because I just love them. I love them so much. And I know that they like love the Clash a lot.
Oh yeah.
But Paul Simonon is like, I mean, speaking of bass players, Paul Simonon, also a god, out there. So I love that. So which Rancid song would you want to play?
Oh, honestly, any of them. There's
so many of
them. Well, I'd say Ruby Soho because that's actually my dog's name.
Oh, that's awesome.
We're like trying to come up with a name, and we're like, Ruby Soho.
Yay! That's awesome.
No, I have to go with that answer.
That's a good one. I like it. So as you're sitting there sipping, I do like asking people when they're home, having some downtime, etc., what they like to sip and listen to. And you're sipping something right now, so you can actually tell us what it is.
Okay,
So what mezcal are you sipping on?
Mezcal Vago.
Oh, Vago.
Yeah, we love these guys. And this is the elote. So it's
nice and mellow.
Exactly. It has a little corn sweetness to it.
Yeah,
so
totally. I mean, mezcal's one of those things that like, when people don't know it, they're afraid of it. And I've told people over the years, I'm like, there are variations. You can get it smoky if you want it smoky. You can get it so it tastes like you licked a tailpipe. But you can also have really smooth mezcal that doesn't have that at all. It's very mellow. So what do you...
Go ahead.
I was going to say, what do you recommend to people out there?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It just takes a little, I wouldn't say trial and error, but when you first have it, most people feel like it's smoky and they get the heat because it's strong, right? But the more that you drink it, the smoke is way on the bottom. You don't really notice it anymore. You just get all these other amazing flavor profiles, and when sits in a bottle for a little while, the profiles change.
Yeah,
The
that's
batches
true
change.
too.
When it sits in my copita for a while, it changes, you know?
Mhm,
So,
mhm.
but we have tons of stuff at Palenque. So, just
Yeah.
I usually
So,
will talk to people, see, and we'll start them off, with something kind of in the middle, a little mellow.
mhm.
We do a lot of flights and stuff, which
Oh,
help.
that's cool.
Yeah. So they
Yeah,
can
definitely ease somebody in, right? Well, also something I think that mezcal has just taken so much bandwidth over the last decade or so. It's like mezcal was nobody knew about mezcal for such a long time, or they thought it was weird, and then it started becoming really popular. But tequila has always been there, and there have
Right.
been great tequilas around. So you're wearing a Fortaleza shirt, and I love Fortaleza. So or sweatshirt. So talk to us a little bit about tequila in your world, because you probably have also found there are so many amazing tequilas out there. And I think people give all the spotlight to mezcal these days.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely both. But yeah, mezcal is definitely making strides. Also, this sweatshirt is a blanket.
Oh, it is. Did you guys
Yeah,
have like a special bottling or something from Fortaleza?
we do, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So
Very cool.
they did a single barrel for us. That is pretty amazing.
Oh, yum.
So,
God, if only I could get to Denver.
Well, if you come out, yeah, we might still have one on hand for you.
Yeah. Well, what tequilas do you like share with people these days as well? Because, they're good tequilas to sip too.
Yeah, yeah. I
Not
mean, there's
just
so many, and I still love tequila as well. There's just so much diversity, and mezcal I think is what brings me to a lot. But I still have both.
Mhm.
Obviously, yeah, Fortaleza is a great
Mhm.
place to start. And it depends. Like, I think a lot of us came from like whiskey bourbon backgrounds. At least I did. My girlfriend did.
Yeah.
So you could get into some of the age stuff, and then it makes sense because you're kind of getting that sweetness.
Mhm.
Uh,
Mhm.
and then I like Blancos probably is what I drink the most of tequila.
Oh, it's easy to just sip on that,
Yeah.
just as the casual thing. And
Yeah,
it's
it's just you're getting all the natural flavors. And,
Mhm.
yeah, I dig
Yeah.
it. But yeah, I mean, we have a lot. So, over
You're
200.
like,
So
you're like, we have so many, I can't pick. I'm asking you to choose a child. I apologize
but
for
those
that.
are some of our favorites. Yeah, for like different there. And then, I don't even know where to go from there. But I saw a lot of people from there,
Yeah.
And
Well,
then Arete is our well, which is
yeah.
great.
Well, and you guys have a cocktail list as well. And, you've been a bartender for a long time. So what is your experience dabbling in cocktail making? Like, are you creating the cocktails there? Have you been able to create the cocktails there? Or is it a group effort, like writing a song?
Yeah, I mean, it's a group effort. We have some amazing bartenders, so they usually do that. I'll throw some ideas in there for
Mhm.
sure. Um, I mean, like I said, I drink mezcal. I drink mezcalritas a lot because they're just
It's
tasty.
easy.
And I think it's a good a way to branch into mezcal as well because they're like, oh well, it's good that way, and then they're not as scared to try it.
Yeah, that's true. Well, the other thing too is, sometimes mixing with mezcals, you have to find the right mezcals because
That's huge.
the flavor will overwhelm it. I was somewhere recently where someone offered to make me a cocktail with a mezcal that is too nice to be mixed. I mean, it was, I can never say it properly. It's Hoglorio.
Oh yeah, we can.
Yeah, and it has the beautiful painted, looking label. And it's one of my favorite mezcals that I can, and I still can't pronounce it despite having a bottle on my shelf. But someone was like, oh, we'll mix a cocktail out for you. I'm like, no, that one's so nice. I don't know that I want you to mix that. But, sometimes something might be too overwhelming to put into a cocktail,
Yeah, and I mean the key too is like a lot of people will be like, "Oh, how could you ever do that?" But honestly, whatever people enjoy, they should drink. That's what it's about. It's about enjoying the spirits, and just because we might not do it doesn't mean that they shouldn't. You know what I mean?
Is there a cocktail that you've made that you were especially proud of over the years, or are you just pretty basic? You're like just all about the sipping, and you've got to have one that you came up with that made you happy.
Well, just recently I came up with an eggnog mezcal that's pretty tasty.
Eggnog mezcal? I've not.
Yep.
I feel like I must have heard of that, but off the top of my head, I can't remember hearing about that.
It actually goes great together. You have to find the right one, but just that little bit of.
What mezcal did you put?
Well, I actually started with the elote, but then we got like a chocolate one.
There's a chocolate, like a chocolate vago?
It's a cacao. So it's like, they do it during the distillation process, and we happen to get that in at the right time. And, yeah. So
And
we
you're
just
like,
playing with that
holidays.
the other day. Yeah. So that may or may not be on the menu soon. We'll see.
That sounds, I can't even imagine that, honestly. I've not, I mean, I've had hot buttered rums and hot toddies, and I'm sure I've had some warm agave something. It's not coming to mind though.
It's cold though.
Oh, it's cold.
Yeah,
oh, eggnog is cold. Duh.
Yeah. And then we'll probably do it vegan, maybe just vegan or both. I don't know. It's just something we were playing with the other day. That was pretty tasty.
Well, why not? I mean, I think a coquito is pretty much vegan, right? A coquito is like coconut cream and I think coconut milk or something. I can't remember what else.
There's so many good milk alternatives that they're just tasty regardless.
Yeah, totally. So you can,
which is nice. Well.
Absolutely. So if you weren't talking to me right now, if you were just sitting home, you, Ruby, your mezcal, what would you be listening to in the background?
Oh, right now, man.
Yeah. What would your chill music be?
Yeah, I'd probably listen to reggae. I'd be listening to like Stick Figure or Movement or just
something
classic
like that.
reggae or something like that.
Well, something that's interesting, and you sort of touched on it, saying that you like Rancid, and Rancid is not, I don't put them in that reggae camp, but they do have kind of that ska, a little bit of that ska thing going. Yeah. And when I lived in the Bay Area, there was so much of a mix up there. A lot of people who played with reggae bands and then also played with these these punk ska bands.
Yeah.
And I know that's always been a thing. So I appreciate that you're into that as well, that you can acknowledge that, even though you started off with playing metal and went down into punk.
Yeah, definitely.
So what reggae stuff have you been listening to lately that I should be listening to? And reggae does not go with mezcal, does it? I guess it can if you want it to.
And mezcal goes with everything. Not that I drink it every day, but it's
no, actually, I'm joking when I say that, because mezcal. One thing that I was happy that you made a mezcal drink. You said, "Oh, I made a good eggnog with mezcal," because for me, I always joke I'm a bad Latina because I can't eat anything spicy. And they put jalapenos, and mezcal drinks almost half the time will wind up with jalapeno syrup or habanero float or something like this in there. And I look at it and I can smell it, and I'm like, I can't have this. You're serving my favorite agave and I can't drink it. And I get so bummed out. So I'm happy now that there's more, and the fact that you put one in eggnog is great. So me saying, "Oh no, mezcal and reggae" is a stupid thing to say, but I don't listen to reggae that often anymore. So are you listening to newer reggae, or is this old reggae?
Both. I mean, there's a lot of good newer stuff. Like I said, kind of like Stick Figure and like
because I don't know that
Revolution, and check out Stick
Evolution.
Figure.
I know, but Stick Figure I don't know.
Yeah, they're great.
And you would think, being from San Diego, I should be up on that.
And then of course, classics. Peter Tosh and Marley and stuff will always be good. And also this time of year, of course, we listen to a lot of oldies and stuff too, Christmas music and Frank Sinatra and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I finally got a decent record player a few months back, so I've got probably 15 records now. So look out, world!
The vinyl is coming.
Yeah, but I definitely enjoy it. It's fun. It's organic, like throwing a record on. And
I mean, honestly, a record putting on an album kind of dictates how you're going to spend the next 15 minutes, because you've got to listen to that side. You should be right there in the room, and you have to be around for when it ends so that you can flip it over so you don't fuck up your needle,
So true.
But it's awesome. That's one of the great things about it. It just reminds me of college pictures of friends laying on the floor with speakers next to their head, listening to their vinyl when they're smoking weed or something, So awesome. Well, it's probably a good place to wrap everything up. Just wanted to talk music and booze. And if people want to track you down in any way, or also Palenque, what's the social media on that, or websites and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All of them. I mean, pretty much a Google search away from them. But Palenque is, amazing. Our food's so good. So definitely, come down and try that out.
For anybody in Denver. And if you're passing through Denver, that's the thing. If somebody has a layover at that evil airport,
right.
The satanic horse airport of Denver.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's a whole nother show.
I know, right?
I
know the stories. I know that horse killed somebody before it was even.
I know, how crazy is that? But definitely come down. The food's so good and the drinks, and we
Mhm.
just have a really good family there. We love
And
it.
so it's a social media is like at Palenque or something.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah.
it's PALENQUE.
Exactly. Yep.
I can't believe I got
Like
that.
Littleton, so it'll come up from that. You know,
Mhm.
we got Instagram, Facebook, website, all that good stuff.
Okay. And what about your band? Where can we
And
find
so
your
yeah, I've got a
music?
couple, but Ego West is my Denver band. So yeah, same thing. Our Instagram is where it's easiest, or Spotify obviously is where our music actually is.
And this is for Egotista.
Yeah. So
Or
it's
Egoista.
exactly, yeah. So
Egoista.
EGOISTA, correct.
Mhm.
And then the
Egoista.
last drop I want to do is we have a charity, a nonprofit called Punk Rock Saves Lives.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's huge. It's awesome. Some of my best friends. I'm on the advisory board, and
Oh
then
my God.
people like a bunch of bands from like Anti-Flag, Authority Zero, you name it. My girlfriend's on the board. But anyways, they just travel around with music festivals and raise money and do a lot of community outreach, as well as like they'll do like bone marrow swabs, to get people for that kind of stuff. And
That's incredible.
super awesome. But that one, same thing. Search that. Give us a like on there. It's a great time and really good.
It's Punk Rock Saves Lives.
Exactly.
Okay. That sounds totally familiar to me. And oh my God, talk about burying the lead, man. You should have talked about this before. So
yeah, no, that's all good.
No,
but
throw it out there.
good.
So how long has this organization been around?
So we actually just played because we had our 2nd year anniversary
That's
last
so cool.
weekend.
Oh my God. And your first year was all during COVID?
Yeah. So it was a lot of online stuff, which was good.
Which is good. Actually, I think doing that got people used to, kind of used to dealing with the online stuff. I know when COVID first hit, like very early on, was it, oh my God, Irish band, Flogging Molly. Flogging Molly did like a live thing from some stage in Boston. And
actually it was Dropkicks that did it, but
was it Dropkick?
Flogging Molly's are good friends, and they're actually involved with the charity as well.
Oh, okay. So it was Dropkick who did that. See, both those bands, I always get them mixed up because I'm not crazy into either one of them. So to me, they're like interchangeable. They're like drunk Irish, whatever, punk bands. And I remember watching that. And normally I wouldn't. I was like, I'm curious. I want to see how this is going to go. And I watched it, and it was so invigorating and so exciting after having spent however much time. At that point, it was early on in the pandemic. So we'd all been locked up, and seeing that, I was like, I miss live music so much.
And for the charity, we did a lot of online stuff, and like mental health check-ins and stuff, just like how are you guys surviving, and just stuff like that. So
there's a Punk Rock Saves Lives website, I'm sure. And then you can see everybody involved in that. Yeah. And that's amazing. And you're on the board of it. This is huge.
Yeah, we love it.
So people should be on the lookout for shows coming up, probably in the spring, I would guess.
Yeah. And I mean, our founder, Rob, just got back from Anti-Flag tour, and then he got a call, and he's going out with Circle of Jerks, I think, today. So he's like all over the place.
That's awesome. Okay. So Punk Rock Saves Lives, most importantly, really. Your band right now, Egoista.
Yep. And Palenque, of course.
And then Palenque.
Bad
there
love.
You go. I love it. Excellent. Well, hopefully people will look all that stuff up. I'm going to make sure I plug a song in, so people can hear your band as well. But thank you so much for taking the time to do it. Don't go away. But thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
All right, so trying to gather together all of the social media and stuff. If you want to find Palenque, it's PALENQUE.CYA. That's the Instagram handle. Palenque, you can probably find on the Facebook as well. If you want to find Todd, it's all one word. It is Todd Daigle, Daigle. That's on the Instagram. However, there was that other stuff he was talking about there towards the end, which I found really interesting and just cracks me up that he waited. And since we are in the holiday spirit right now, it is holiday time when we're recording this. So if you have a little giving in you this year, punkrocksaveslives.org. Go check that out, and you can get some cool stuff from them
as a reward for giving a little donation to help them save some lives, help punks save lives. I really love that. And thank you so much, Todd, for telling us about that, for being part of the podcast. And actually, you guys didn't see it, but I got to see a picture of Ruby Soho, the puppy, and she's really cute. Super cute. Maybe I'll share it on Instagram later. Thanks so much. And man, I do really miss going out to Colorado. And oh yeah, I almost forgot. We're going to play you some Egoista. This is a song from the band called Take It As It Comes. Music and Booze with Mo is brought to you by Barkeeper, a head shop for cocktail lovers, located at 614 North Hoover Street in Silver Lake, Los Angeles. Stop by for barware, vintage glassware, a carefully curated collection of spirits, and one of the most impressive selections of bitters anywhere. Follow them on Instagram and Facebook for information regarding spirits tastings. That's barkeepersilverlake.com, and also in the Virgil Village neighborhood of Silver Lake, Los Angeles. Thank you for tuning in to our barroom chats on Music and Booze with Mo. For more info about today's guest, or if you want to connect with me, check out my Facebook page, Mo Herms. Please subscribe to the podcast and feel free to tell all your friends about it. While you're there, give the show a rating and a review. It really helps to get the word out. If you want to hear the playlists our guests have curated, search She Be Mo on Spotify, SHEBMO. Find pictures of the interviewees and the cool stuff they create on the Music and Booze with Mo Instagram account. Lower your expectations and join us at the bar. Till next time, cheers.